Hi, and welcome to, or back to, my channel. I'm Kit, and today I'm going to have a look at a clip from the FreshandFit channel. And before we get into it, I would like to thank you all for clicking on this video, and I would like to give extra thanks to my patrons and channel members. It's been about 2 years since we've spoken about the FreshandFit channel, and for those unfamiliar, FreshandFit is another one of those dating podcast channels that have over 1 million subscribers, and they mainly shit on women and rake in money. But this clip caught my attention, and so, of course, we have to talk about it. It's titled, Black Queen Insulted This Housewife for Being Obedient, which, well, they know what they're about. Anyway, let's get into it.
You know what? Let me ask the married woman, what is the most important thing to keep a relationship, in your opinion?
I would say just knowing that my job right now for myself is to serve my husband and understanding that and being, obedient to him. And I have a very strong personality. So there's obviously been some times where he's like, no, you promised, you vowed to me that you would be obedient. So that means that you're going to be obedient even when you disagree with me.
Well, as BFB said, it's not submission if you agree. And I assume for her to be on FreshandFit, her husband must be a viewer.
So that's something that I've had to learn, but everything is just so much more smoothly. I'm so indecisive. As a woman, we're so indecisive.
Sometimes when I hear these submissive women talk, I don't think it's about the Bible or biology. I think they just don't like the idea of being an adult, and so they decide it would be easier to just submit to their spouse. And in my opinion, you do not get to abdicate the responsibilities of adulthood. However, I do think those that make this choice will likely come to regret it because being the adult for another adult appeals to a very specific type of person, and they're likely not someone you want to submit to.
I make a decision and then I'm immediately second guessing it, and he just makes the decision. So it keeps all that responsibility out of my hands and just trusting your husband. He's always like, do you trust me? Yes. Okay, so stop bitching about the decision I made.
So then, if she trusts him and she thinks it's better to submit to him, why does she complain about his decisions? Or is she going to write that off as just another silly woman thing?
And I just listen to him. So I honestly think listening and trusting your man.
That's a good point, though.
I love that.
I saw that you were making some faces. You disagree. Go ahead. I'll open it up to you.
I'm
Do you disagree? You
Go,
just like
queen.
some of the things. Go ahead, please.
Come on, queen.
Honestly, the way you're referring to yourself sounds like a dog. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like,
I am a
obedient.
bitch. I am a bitch.
No, I would never call you that.
I mean, that is a female dog, so
I'm
in
saying-
definition.
It's interesting how they try to frame this as this woman really going after the housewife. It's not so interesting how the men watching agree.
I'm saying that you're obedient and you just do as it just
Proudly
sounds.
obedient.
Yeah, of course.
But you
I'm
also
happy
have
for
to
you.
remember, too, she did say she got married under a church, not by papers, but under the church. And in church, they do vow to each other certain things,
Yes.
and obedience is one of them.
I'm a Roman Catholic, so I do know.
I mean, if you're being a Roman Catholic, how can you say it's being treated as a dog
But
if you're supposed to
saying
be
the
this way?
I'm saying the way she sounds, because I'm Roman Catholic. I do know all the 7, vows. I do know them. But I'm just saying, in a sense, I would never refer to myself as obedient to my.
It's supposed to
Well,
be a
let's-
team.
Is it a team if one person is making all the decisions and the other has to go along, otherwise they're breaking their vows?
Why do we ask the men?
But why
here?
not be
Hold on,
obedient?
I'm not saying-
Wait.
Ask the men? Does she not know what podcast she's on?
Why not be obedient to the man that you want to be with? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
That's
I'm
what
not
you're
his,
bringing.
I'm not his child.
Or
That's
property.
how
But
it
if
sounds.
he's gonna take responsibility and provide everything and be,
I will let him lead.
You will let him?
I will,
You will let him?
You're supposed to let
Really?
him lead. You're supposed to
but
have
I'm not
him
saying. I'm
lead.
not saying I'm not going to be obedient.
That's
I'm
what
saying
letting-
in a sense.
But why not
when
be
when she
obedient
has
to
an
your
opinion.
leader?
Hold on. I got this.
It's really annoying how, on these podcasts, the one person brought on to disagree is always talked over, so they never get a chance to state a full thought or opinion, and the viewer is left with the impression that they didn't really have anything to say and their thoughts were incredibly jumbled.
Pastor Fresh stepping in here.
Yeah.
So you're Catholic, right?
It's Catholic.
So do you read your Bible?
Yes.
What does your Bible say about marriage?
Marriage is a vow.
Under what?
It's a sacred vow.
Under what?
I don't know. The Lord. Yeah.
The Lord's understanding.
Mm.
And what does that mean?
I'm not buying for 1 second that Fresh or Fit care anything about what the Bible says, except what they can use against women.
God, man, woman, kids. So
But-
by default, she's saying what the Bible says. You're saying, oh, you know what? I'm making my own rules,
I'm
so
not
I don't have to
saying
be a
that.
dog.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the way she sounded. I can interpret her the way she
Also,
sounded.
how she said it.
How she said it. I'm not saying.
It doesn't change that
I'm
it's
not
How
saying
she
it's
said it,
that-
Myron.
But I'm saying it sounded like if you're gonna say that.
show.
I'm saying if you're gonna say that.
That's how the Bible
I-
sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, please. This man doesn't care about the Bible. And on that note, I'm going to again recommend The Making of Biblical Womanhood by Beth Allison Barr, though I imagine these folks wouldn't like it because it would contradict what they think the Bible says about women in marriage.
You're not supposed to interpret
not
the Bible
sexy.
literally.
It's not sexy.
So you're supposed
You
to
just
listen.
don't like the way you're hearing it, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true
But
and
I'm,
it's how it
I'm not
should
gonna.
be.
Kill-
No, you guys aren't even letting me speak.
Yeah,
Go
let's let her- let's let her
No one has
speak.
let me finish
No,
my
go ahead. Please finish
opinion.
your thought.
But I'm just saying, in a sense, like I will let my man lead. That's not like let him. I'm saying I would want him to lead. I want to follow his path. I want to depend on him.
So she's not even really disagreeing. And from the looks of it, none of the other women are either. The title for the full video is Married TradCon Debates Independent Black Queens, but where? Where is the debate if they all agree?
But I'm saying I want him to also listen when I say like, hey, like I don't really feel too great about this. I want him to tell him to be shut up and just listen.
Yeah.
I want him to be like, hey, this is what we're doing for a reason. I want mutual respect. I respect him as someone to make decisions, to do things and everything. But I do not want to be disrespected in a sense where it's like, you don't know anything, so just shut up and do it.
I obviously don't think any adult should be leading another, but that's a very reasonable disagreement.
This
I
is
would
where
probably say the way she phrased it kind of sounded like that, but at the end of the day, y'all literally just said the same thing.
Yeah.
If you want me to be honest with you, y'all
just
just
sugarcoated
said the
it.
same thing. You
Even-
just danced around it, but she was just
For anyone wondering, no, they didn't actually just say the same thing.
But
On
I just
point.
don't
You
like the
understand?
how
It's
the
not-
disrespect. Like
it's-
that.
it's
To me,
not-
it just sounded like
it's
I wouldn't
not.
tolerate
tell you
it.
how it's
It's
She wants to be able to,
I wouldn't
you want to be able
tolerate
to question your man and not feel like you don't have a say so. But reality speaking, she's saying, you know what? I may question it, but I made a choice to make him the leader.
And that was the last choice she was allowed to make.
So if he made a choice for me and my family, you know what? I might not like it in the moment, but he may have I want to say general idea more than I do.
And I would
But
say
what-
this too: dogs can't disagree, but still choose to obey.
But my
Bars.
yeah, of course. But I'm saying in a sense with
Bars.
your husband, will you if you're adamant on something you don't like, do you just give up?
I have to. For instance, I'm a big picky eater. I'm a big picky eater. He'll be like, eat that just to like break me from it. And it sucks. It sucks. I don't like it.
So, to be clear, this adult is telling us that she's a picky eater, and her husband makes her eat food she doesn't like to break her of it. And no one here except this one woman thinks that's weird?
But it's a big thing of just trusting your husband. I can tell him trust me, he's one of his biggest complaints about me is I'm a big complainer. And, I give my opinions too much. That's an honest fault of mine, but I can say what I want to say.
What good is saying what you want to say if your words aren't taken into consideration?
And then he's going to make the decision. And since I vowed to him that I'm going to be trusting him and be obedient to him, that I will be happy and I will not just obey, but put a smile on my face. Well, that's another thing is I'm not going to be miserable during the entire time we're doing something just because I don't want to do it.
So, not only do you have to do things you don't want to do, but you also have to pretend to enjoy it for the rest of your life. And they wonder why people aren't getting married as much these days. But she also just told us that she's a big complainer, so I was hoping she's a LARPer or something, but she's pregnant, so I'm thinking not. And either way, it doesn't really matter. I have no doubt the men watching are eating this up and thinking this is what all women should do and be.
I chose to be obedient and I'm trusting him.
But if you have to be obedient, are you really choosing it? Because by their logic, the last time a woman makes a choice, presuming she's not in too deep and it's not actually her father making the decisions, it's when she decides to marry someone. And from then on, he makes the decisions.
And every time I do this, guess what? I'm always happy with what we're doing. It's never bad. I swear. He knows better than me. A man, he does know better than me. I wanted to marry him because he knows better than I do.
I guess we just disagree on that aspect. But I respect how you go about your marriage. I'm not going to deny that. I'm just saying in a sense, if I don't like something, I want my significant other to appreciate that.
When
That's
your
all it
voice
says.
heard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, I don't want to eat this, and him like eat it, and I do it. Like that's so absurd to me. Like I get it. That's how it works for you, and I appreciate that for you. I love that for you. But I'm just saying, in a
All right.
sense, I want my own.
The eating
voice.
part, I gotta agree with you. That's kind of like, yo, but I get it. I get it. Eat that, nigga.
Smile on your face. This is the hood, ain't it? Yeah, but y'all don't know. Was the food that he was telling you to eat, was it healthier for you and better than what you had prior?
Yes, I mean, for example, I've been vegetarian since I was like 8. I'm pregnant now, and I'm not a high protein diet. It's better for me to eat meat. Now, eating to me dead flesh sounds the most disgusting thing ever because I haven't had it since I was 8 years old.
It's tougher to eat enough protein when pregnant, but it's not impossible. If her wants and needs were actually being taken into consideration, he would have researched and found a way for her to get that extra protein while remaining a vegetarian. But her wants and needs aren't important, so he just decided, you'll eat meat while you're pregnant. Though, to be honest, the only thing that surprises me is that she's allowed to be a vegetarian even when not pregnant.
But it's healthy for the baby, so he's, made me eat chicken.
Ask another question and you get the real answer. He's doing that. Why? Not just
Right.
for her betterment, but for the betterment
For
of the
the
child.
child.
Right.
No, he's just managing to be both controlling and lazy while also continuing the long and not proud history of acting as though women have no idea about their daily needs and how to go about fulfilling them without the aid of a man to guide them. I do appreciate how Myron is attempting to make it sound as though, really, this man is leading her not because he wants to, not because he thinks he should, but for her sake. So selfless.
Yep.
And this is why, since the beginning of time, men have typically been in leadership, and that's why patriarchies work.
That makes no sense. A man is too controlling to let his wife make her own dietary choices and so decrees that a vegetarian is to eat meat. And that's why men were typically in leadership positions? And that's why patriarchies work? How are we defining work here? What tends to happen in patriarchies? I appreciate the honesty, but I wish there had been more pushback. Though, honestly, it's fresh and fit, so this was probably the best it was going to get. I'm all for people living the lives they want, but at some point, you have to ask yourself how an adult ended up choosing a life where they not only have to obey and be happy about it, but they're not even allowed to choose what they eat. That's bleak. Just going along with what someone else wants you to do, regardless of how you feel about it, and putting a smile on your face. That's not any kind of life. And everyone else is just like, yeah, that sounds very godly. No matter your denomination or interpretation of the Bible, I'm pretty confident that no version includes a man dictating a woman's meals. I should probably stop looking at the comments, but let's look at the comments. Serve my husband, being obedient to him. Those words are never in the vocabulary of boss babes. That keeps them perpetually single. We need more women like her. Just to have a submissive, attractive woman who's not a headache, not a 304 by your side sounds amazing and refreshing to me. The woman who claims to be obedient certainly does look happier, healthier, and calmer. Whereas the alleged Black Queen is agitated, anxious, defensive, and seems very unhappy. The woman in green who called the woman in pink a dog is jealous and disrespectful because she's still single and the other woman is not because she has common sense and has more knowledge. This is the mother figure we need for the kids. The housewife understands that there is a power dynamic that works, and she realizes that she benefits when she submits to authority. The 304 thinks that you should have veto power over the king when it suits you, meaning she misses the point entirely and thus will die alone. This is just amazing to me. The woman never even called the wife a dog. That was their titling and imagery, not what actually happened. And yet, they fall for it. The woman pushes back in the lightest way possible. She's a hoe. And they really think they're clever by saying 304, and she's also agitated, anxious, and seems very unhappy, while the woman who's saying what they want to hear is happier, healthier, and calmer. Do they not hear themselves? Do they not see they're in an echo chamber? And it's a bit frightening to see these men hype each other up that all women need to be like the woman who isn't allowed to not eat food she dislikes. And then there's the nonsense of, if you don't have a submissive wife, you're fighting for control. You can be in a relationship without one leading and one submitting and not fight. It's actually very easy when you don't believe you're uniquely qualified to exert control over another human by virtue of having a penis. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.